Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tint Wisdom. My name's Eric. I'm your host, and today we are joined by Kris Queen, owner of Star Window Tinting. And
howdy, guys.
Today's a Q&A, so thanks, Kris, for doing this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Eric. I appreciate it.
So I'm going to pull up the chat, make sure that we look and sound okay. And how I'd like to start off is if you could give us some context, tell us a little bit about who you are. You obviously own a window tinting business. How did you get there? And who are you?
Well, sure. I'm from Chicago, actually Oak Lawn. I've been tinting windows now since 1995. 96, I started right before high school. It was actually right when I got into high school, freshman year. And so I've been tinting windows for this long. Now I'm 38. So it's been a while. Started when I got my driver's license at a shop that was in Oak Lawn, the owner of the company lived across the street from me. Great guy. Love the guy. He still has a company in Oak Lawn. That guy taught me a lot. And I was there from through Saturdays all the way through high school, tinted my friends' cars, all that type of stuff, got a good base with that, around school and growing up with a neighborhood that's busy. And giving people idea, Oak Lawn is 20 minutes south of Midway Airport. So it's right by Chicago, so we're populated over there. Mm-hmm. From there, I did retail management. Okay. I got out of working for him and I still worked in tinted windows on Sundays on my day off. Okay. So from there, I worked full-time job with sales management and retail management, did that a lot. I became a district manager for a while. But I always stayed tinting windows on Sundays. And I did this for years and years out of my parents' house. Because I lived in a condo and I couldn't, I didn't have a shop.
And was it just word of mouth?
Yeah, just word of mouth. And people that I've met working at one of the best shops in the city, in the area at that time, that opened up in the early 80s, Midwest Glass Centers is what it's called. I met a lot of people and people knew that I worked at one of the best install shops, and all he was window tint. It was not PPF. It was nothing like that. So I learned a lot from him, and he had obviously a bunch of employees, and I met a bunch of guys there as well. And that's where I met one of my best friends, and he's actually working with me at my shop at 5 Star that I opened up in 2015. He's been with me full time, but that guy has worked there his whole life. His name is Ron, good guy. He's been tinting windows now, I think, for 34 years. So he's my backbone. With my business. Okay. He's the installer. He's the main installer. And myself, and then I got another guy as of right now. But back to that, I opened up my shop. I moved. Mm-hmm. I actually moved 30 miles south of where I initially opened a business because it was in Oak Lawn, the same town as that shop that I learned from, and I wanted to respect his area. Okay. And I went 30 miles south. But that didn't start. I didn't move 30 miles south for about 2 years. So it took me a little bit of time to get my own shop. I had to market. I had to do a lot of stuff to figure out.
When you were first opening the shop, because mm-hmm. fast forwarding, it obviously has grown and it's doing really well. But if you remember back to when you were first opening it, what are some of the challenges that you faced going from tinting out of a garage to getting your own garage for tinting?
Some of the things. Obviously financial reasons, because.
Saving up enough.
That was a big part. You got to save enough. I had to save enough money to quit my full-time job, basically, to tell you on that note. Mm-hmm. And at that time I had my daughter's going to be 19 in May. So I have my daughter, I started early. So I had a full-time job plus tinting. So I had to hustle all the time.
So how much money you had to have enough money saved, obviously, to approximately how much
open a shop. I don't know. It wasn't that much, but depending on what kind of you rent. So I quit my full-time job. But before I quit my job, I lined up different shops that I knew of in the area that did certain work that would offer tint. Okay. So I would say, hey, I'll come there on Tuesdays after I work a little bit at my normal job and close out, and I met a lot of people that way. That took over the time. So, it did. It cost me a little bit of money to get started because I wanted to get all the VLTs I used at all the film lines I started with.
So somebody in mm-hmm. that same position, they need to account for obviously rent, a couple months of rent, and obviously all the film. You need to
Of
have
course.
all the VLTs, like you're saying, a couple tiers of films and so on, tools and so on. If they're tinting themselves, they might not need any employees to start. Is there anything else that stands out that you remember?
Financial wise, having something to market with, because like I said, before I opened my own business, I knew how important like grassroots marketing would be.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew if I'm going to open a shop, I'm going to have to heavily market that area. So I had to put some money away for, doing a news flyer or getting, 5,000 news things going out, or advertising in a certain neighborhood and flyers and do whatever. So I knew I had to have money for that right away too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a good following of people growing up tinting windows in my area. But when I moved to the other way, to 30 miles south, then that was where I had to figure how else can I get, continue to stay busy year round in Chicago, which is tough. I wish I was in Florida. Well, sometimes I wish I was in a warmer climate.
Florida has its, I
wish I was in down south somewhere warmer than where we're at. You know what I mean? So I did find out a way to do it. I actually I went to every car dealership in my area, and which is basically, if people know, would be Orland Park. And I tinted windows. I would go there mobily for 2 years and tint their cars as much as I can by myself and bust my butt round the clock for a solid 2 years until I got enough money then. And then I had a big shop to get and go from there. And then I was able to get an employee. That's where I got Ron back with me, Okay. So and he left his place. He left his place. 27 years into it to come with me. He's been with me still.
Very nice. So build up your business, build up the demand, save some money, and then make the move. Don't just, rent the place and then figure the rest out, because that's going to be a stressful scenario.
Yeah, exactly. I think people do that all the time, and I know people do that all the time. But man, that would be extra stressful. So to make sure that you're able to pay your bills and and then live the other side of your life. With your mortgage and, your car payments and stuff like that,
So,
and having kids, it's another thing. That's, it's a whole different ballgame.
For sure. The more responsibilities you have, and that kind of goes back to that saying when people say, they remind young people sometimes, hey, you're young, this is the time to do it.
Right.
Young is relative. So everybody's young compared to somebody older than them. So it's never too late to do it, but it's probably not going to get easier later.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So I want to read some of the comments, jump in there. And then, just for context for everybody, this is the first time me and you see each other face to face, short of the test Skype that we did yesterday.
Correct.
And, what's exciting is, I've known you through Facebook. So you've been just a little profile picture and a name this entire time. And, there's a lot goes on in those Facebook groups. And
they sure do.
A lot goes on in the Facebook groups. And I think as people get to meet each other, see each other, and communicate better, I think less and less of that stuff that I'm talking about will happen. So this is exciting. Tell me a little bit, or I want to jump into the comments, and then I want to talk a little more about the Facebook groups and why you're in them, what you've been able to get out of them, your thoughts on them, and so on. So just jumping in the comments real quick, Betsy said, "You're brave, Kris. You did this with your family in mind. Great things will be coming your way."
Thank you.
Karen said 5 stars, great. Ed said, hey. Jessica Nicole said, Georgia's not much better. And Mike asked if he can get a job. He said he's moving to Chicago in just a couple weeks.
You're talking about Mike Powell?
Yep.
He already has a spot in my house here.
Mike, you have not only a job, you have housing as well.
Yeah, he's already got a spot with his whole family. We love Mike. Mike Powell's fantastic.
David Torres, what's up? Jamie Sanchez, Jesse, everybody in here. Carol, thanks for joining. Thanks everybody for watching this live. So thank you everybody, obviously, for watching this live. That's exciting. If you're watching this after, thank you too. But the live people that take the time out of their Thursdays to watch this is awesome. Something that I learned from a fellow YouTuber, Matt, from Tint Stuff, he was saying how much his live streams have improved since he's been asking his audience to share during the live stream. So since this is a Q&A, since this is an Ask Kris Anything, I think the more people in here, the more questions, the better. So if you're watching this now and you can share the video possibly to a window film group or to your friends or whatnot. I think that'll get some more activity in here. I'm curious to see if it has as big of an impact as Matt says it does, and I think it'll make for a lot of questions. So with that said,
Matt's got some great videos too. Absolutely,
Matt definitely has some great videos, and Matt is Tint Stuff. There's a YouTube channel with over 50,000 subscribers, and then he also has a Facebook group. So jumping into the Facebook group, what are your thoughts on Facebook group? Tell me more.
I mean, they are obviously informative, and you can learn a lot of stuff, obviously, 100%. I have to say, I think I started getting into those groups probably 2 years ago. You know, that's how they start. I mean, that's when I started noticing them, and they're helpful. They are helpful, and I'm very quiet on there. I keep to myself. I leave, but they are knowledgeable. I think there's a lot of people that say a lot of stuff in there that, you know, this is better and that's better. I mean, it is what it is.
So tell me some of the good stuff, the knowledge.
I like the guys that talk about like the new tricks of the trade and like this works good for this and this works better for that. Check this tool out for this. That's what I like to see. You know what I mean? That when they posting pictures of, hey, this is, you know, just examples of stuff. I like seeing that type of stuff. I'm more of a hands-on guy, picture guy. I like to see what it looks like. I mean, I like whatever's going to make my business run smoother and better. That's why I like those groups. I mean, that's simple.
That's it. Right on hit the nail on the head. It's not about the stuff that is not so good. It's
the nonsense. Yeah.
It's not about the nonsense, right? You know, exactly. It's about what's going to make your business run better, what's going to help your processes run smoother, and then once in a while, we're lucky enough to meet a great friend on there as well.
Oh, I've met a lot of good people so far, you including yourself, Eric. But yeah, I've met a lot. And a lot of people watching on here are the ones I've been communicating with probably for the good solid year and a half, which is nice. And that goes right into saying, like, I met and started meeting people at the Tint Off 2 years ago, you know, and in San Antonio. That's when I competed there for auto. I met a lot of people. And then Indianapolis this past year, I met, you know, probably one of my better friends now is Mr. Powell. You know what I mean? I mean, it's you meet a lot of people, and the Facebook stuff and the forums are really awesome. They are. That's how you make your business better. But stay away from the negativity and the cancer stuff. Get that out.
100%. And I think the easiest way to stay away from the negativity and all that is just ignoring it. Like I never reply to it. I never engage in it.
There's no reason to comment. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I see something, if it's like kind of something like I don't agree with, I just don't reply to it. I don't do anything with it, and then it never affects me. And I feel like people kind of step in it, you know, and then they say it stinks.
You can absorb it, and you can think to yourself, would it be better? Or I should probably just shut my mouth and then see if it works there or if it doesn't work. I mean, as simple as that. Yeah. You know.
So jumping in the comments, we do have a question from Pam. She said, "What's your worst car to tint?"
Pam. Oh my God. Hey Pam, how about what's Pam on there? What's her last name? Does that start with an M?
Yes. I'm not the best with last names, but it's Masiaga, maybe?
Yeah, I'm terrible at last names. I can't pronounce it anyway, but that girl is a phenomenal window tinter. Phenomenal. And I love you, Pam. Probably the F bodies at a certain point, or the third gen Camaros, of course. We all hate those. Mm-hmm. But that's about it. She might answer it for me. Go ahead, Pam. Tell them. Right, what's Pam. My worst back window?
And we had another question from Gama. Asked, can you tint my glasses to make them into sunglasses? I don't know. Can you?
You know what? I wish I could. I don't know. Probably not. That's going to be funny. Wait, that's my girlfriend's dad. Great, good one, Gary. I like that.
All right. So your shop now. Tell us more about 5 Star. Tell us more what your business looks like now. How many people working? What do you do? Is it mainly auto, or what's going on?
I would say my business is like 80% auto and 20% flat glass. We don't do paint protection. Okay, I have wanted to learn. I have probably done 5 front end paint protection installs by myself. You know, with my help with Ron, or my guy that's with me now. We've done a couple. We just don't know the tricks of it 100%. That's why we are actually going the end of March to Flexi Shield with
PPF.
We're going for PPF training, and I'm taking my whole staff. I'm taking Ron, and I'm taking Joe. And we're all going, and we're all going to learn how to do it. And that's going to be a huge addition to 5 Star's product line and what we're doing. It's just I'm throwing away money. There's opportunity out there, and I have no problem. I always divvy it out around the people I know in the industry that's around my shop, and they send the love back. So that's always good. But now it's time I need to do a little bit more, because
Sure.
I just opened a bigger the size shop a month and a half ago, and I have more room to do some more damage.
How big is your shop?
2,800 feet.
2,800 square feet.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you.
So plans for the future, obviously expanding into PPF. Is there any plans in flat glass to grow that? What are your thoughts on flat glass and so on?
Now that you say that, the expansion of what I do now, we're going to hit the flat glass side pretty hard this year. I'm going to go after that. We just paired up with a fantastic new film company, Veloce Innovations. We're partnered up with them, and we're going to stay with them, and I like their products, and the numbers are fantastic. So that's what I'm going to start offering, and we're going to start marketing that better. Simple as that. We're going to start doing more stuff on social media, boost more posts with our installs, or not even, however we can, to show people what the benefits of tinting your home is. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm going to go after them. I'm going to go after that more than I ever have in the past, and say in the last 3.5 years.
So before you opened your shop, networking was a big part of getting that momentum to make that leap into opening your shop. From when you've opened up until now, has networking been still the driving force in your growth, or have you done other things? Or,
well, I could tell you that I was never a fan of Facebook. I never was. I hated it until somebody mentioned, why don't you open a Facebook account and post a video or post a picture of your car? So, this happened. This is going back, I don't know, 2012, something like that, 2012. So I opened an account and started doing that, and that got my friends interested, and I connect with more friends, and I show their friends, and then I take a picture of their car and I tag him or her, and then they see it on their friends, and it ended up just like spiraling, just 100% spiraling, and making Facebook's made me, very successful in what I'm doing lately. You know what I mean? And then Instagram rolls around, and I don't know how you even use Instagram to a point. So I started doing that and incorporating it with my Facebook page. And I had a lot of people trying to say, hey, I'll run your page for you and get you more followers and this, that, and the other. And I made the dumb move of doing that, I don't know, a year and a half ago. And I should have about probably 6,000, 7,000 on Instagram. And it says I have a lot more.
How many?
That doesn't bother me. I don't care, because it's still got my name on it. And
what's the difference? But so what happened?
So what happened with that? I paid a company a little bit too stupid money, $50 a month, and they're like, you'll gain followers. Just keep an eye out. Hey, and you want to spend more money and ask for likes? And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not going to pay for likes. But if I see businesses in the field that I do, that have tons of followers, I look at them like, how are they promoting, or how are they marketing that company on Instagram? Are they paying for it? Because I'm doing the same thing that they're doing, is posting pictures of cars tinted and explaining it and using their hashtags and so on and so forth. So I don't know. I don't think it makes a difference if you got a bazillion followers. Obviously it does if it's 100% legit, but I focus on my Facebook more or less.
Okay.
My business page.
Okay. And what if are there any things that stand out that have been important to like growing your Facebook page, or what have you seen from it, or
Yeah, absolutely. Your last feed, Eric, with the hashtags about talking about that, and then like sponsoring posts and whatnot. I will sponsor posts if I get a solid flat glass job that I'm very happy about, and I know that it's going to be informative for the surrounding community in that neighborhood or whatnot. And I'm going to tint it. We're going to take videos while we're doing, not videos, but just pictures, and then I'm going to post it. And I'm going to sponsor it. And then I'm going to use tags with that neighborhood. And then I'm going to ask the home to, hey, can I put a stake sign in your front yard? Say this home's tinted by 5-star. Because that's how it seems like it spiraled over the years.
Yep.
Sorry. My phone just rang. My fault. I had to decline it.
It's all good. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense, and I agree with those tactics completely. Are your vehicles wrapped?
I had a 2015 Silverado wrapped, and I had a 2013 Sonic wrapped with my logo all around. It was like it was a partial wrap that I did not do, obviously, because I don't do them. Um, I upgraded the Sonic, and then I had a Silverado, and unfortunately, it got totaled in an accident. And now I just have another truck, which I'm going to do something to it. But yes, I've always had a vehicle wrap because I believe in rolling marketing 100%. That you're advertising your vehicle with an awesome wrap. By calling Carrie Mama Duck at Duck Designs. Carrie Yoakum does fantastic work for marketing stuff and building wraps. I would definitely call her. I'm going to call her and add that to my new truck because I believe in rolling out marketing.
Do you plan on adding like printed graphics and wraps to your business this year?
I would probably say no. I'll have to be honest with you. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say I'm going to probably next year because this year my focus is PPF. I have been in business for 5 years, and we are getting bigger and bigger with my customer base. I don't have any dealerships anymore. It's retail. Okay. Now I want to get into PPF because then I can open that door back up with dealerships that I got rid of, which I had 16 of them. And that whole time they were late when I was doing their cars, they were like, Kris, you're going to do PPF. Yeah, eventually. I'll let you guys know.
So why did you get rid of the dealers?
Because my retail took over.
So you were just limited on how much work you could do. So you had to do the work that paid more.
Correct. Okay. Obviously you're going to want to tint your retail cars, then deal with the wholesale pricing of a dealership. And obviously going there and going to this dealership and going to that dealership. No, yeah, sure. Yeah. So I was able to, once I was able to see my retail going crazy, because I was mobile for 2 years before I got my first shop. I'm on my second now. Once I got my retail calling me enough and eliminating days of going to the dealership and then letting them know, hey, you guys bring the cars to me. If not, oh well, you know what I mean? But now I want to focus on PPF 100% this year and get my staff, up to par too. And we're looking forward to working with Flexi Shield, and we're going to see how that opens up down the road the rest of the year this year. And then if we get it going and get it rolling, then hey, we got wraps, and I can add wraps to it. And I don't do something at 5 Star. We don't do something. We want to do right now. We do the best window tinting, and I'm stand by that with my reviews and my staff that I have. I got another new guy named Joe. He just got on board about 6 months ago. He's got a little bit of wrap background, but he also has paint correction and detailing of cars and outside of paint. So I can turn that into something else, at the moment. But window tinting is what I know that me and Ron are good at, and it just shows.
That makes sense. Take it one at a time. PPF's a huge market. It's great that you're investing by taking your entire staff there and focusing on it. And, that sounds like a good plan. Mike Powell, jumping back into the comments, just wanted to ask you to please stop ignoring his calls. And then I want to say hello to Jordan and Matt. Thanks for joining. Patrick's also in here as well. And Kyle, Robbie, everybody in here. I only see some of the names, but we had a couple questions I wanted to ask you. So Chamal Jose asked, do you get more biz through the internet or walk-in? And if it's through the internet, what's your rating on Google?
Okay, so I get business on walk-ins now more than I ever have because I'm off the beaten path. I am not on a busy location, an intersection at all whatsoever. Okay. I couldn't afford that. So I'm off the beaten path.
Okay.
Now I knew from going off the beaten path that I had to focus on getting Google reviews and getting searched that way, and people finding out, hey, and searching me on Google. Okay. He's got great reviews. And he asked what my reviews are on Google.
He said, what's your rating on Google?
I think it's a 4.9.
Okay. Yeah. So what are the types of things you do to get customers to review? Because I'm sure there's some tint shops out there that say, hey, we do a great job. Everybody's really happy, but we still don't get any reviews.
Well, I mean, that's simple. That's a simple answer. If you're taking your customer in to do their car, you yourself, and tinting your car, and then you're checking them out and explaining everything to them thoroughly, and they're giving you their money, their hard-earned money, I'm going to be extremely nice to that person. 100%. Make sure that they're comfortable before they leave my shop. And I ask them nicely. Or I ask them nicely, yes, but before I book that car, or if I book that car, I always ask the customer, how'd you hear about me? Where did you find me? And the majority is Google. Google obviously is it. And they say, I seen your Facebook link, because that generates a lot, apparently, because I have a lot of I got a lot of action on the Facebook business page. And then also with the Facebook page, my personal page, since I opened up my business with a personal page by taking a picture of a car and with my friends and then sharing that to their friends, I get work from both ends.
Right.
So I get personal business that I'm connected to, and then my people that have connected to me on 5-star business page. But yeah, Google is the internet one for sure.
And I think, obviously people are making their purchasing decisions on the internet now more than ever, obviously.
Absolutely.
And, it's not so much about what business did I pass on the road. It's let me look online and see which is the best business that's going to cater to my needs. And that's where it's not so important to be on a main road. It is important to do a great job. And
that's 100% right. And you have to be, your customer service has to be stellar on point, because if somebody leaves unhappy, I'm going to know right away that my Google rating could be affected by that one customer. I mean, realistically, me just being in a tint shop, with one or two people there, they're only going to talk to me or they're going to talk to my guy. And if I could tell they're not happy or they're happy, you don't let somebody leave unhappy. And then you definitely don't let somebody come back to you with an issue or a problem, and not rectify it with a smile on their face before they leave.
Right.
And that's why I think I have the reviews I have on Google, because actually it should be a 5.0, not to toot my own horn, but it makes me mad. But somebody gave me a false review and they won't review it. That's
exactly the right mentality you have to have, because, like you said, one bad review, it can hurt you for so long, one bad review. So it's not worth the argument. I got
a couple bad ones on Yelp, actually, from when I first opened. But I don't utilize Yelp. I don't pay Yelp. I don't like using Yelp. I just think I actually have 67 reviews on Yelp and they only show 15. And
this whole thing's going to turn out about Yelp if I engage with
I don't want to talk about Yelp. So please don't talk. I'm just telling we're talking about.
Because I'm about to take up the next hour talking about how you're screwing up without using Yelp. Let me move on to some other questions. Kemal also said, as far as dealers, too much hassle than regular customers. And I think the answer you said was just basically it's the money. You had limited time, so whoever can bring in more money for that time, right?
Yeah. Explain it. I can't. What did he say again?
So he was asking was the dealers too much hassle compared to regular customers, and it wasn't necessarily about the hassle as it was
absolutely,
the driving
the dealers take 60 days to pay, or 30 to 45 days to pay you, right?
Okay.
Then you're also beating up your own vehicle going there. You got to work in their space, which is limited, could be huge, and they only want to pay under $200 a car. Well, I'm talking my area. Mm-hmm. They don't want to pay any money for their work. They don't want ceramic film. You can't convince an aftermarket parts guy to sell ceramic film.
And a customer coming into your shop for the same base film, at least you get the opportunity to upsell them. Whereas the dealer, you have no option. It's not going to happen.
You have nothing. But I'm not saying it's not good to have dealership work. It's good if you want to stay busy. But essentially, you want to go with your customers to talk to them, to upsell.
Well, you could potentially hire one person and, they handle dealers, and it doesn't take away from your current.
Nope.
So, that's definitely an option. He also asked, what kind of film do you use? And what's the pricing that you give to your customers? Is your location into a medium, low, or medium high, buddy?
My location is in a very low. I'm right off of unincorporated New Lenox, which is, you're not going out there unless you're coming to see me, I should say. Okay, so no one sees my shop unless the industrial strip people that are in there. What was the other question? I'm sorry.
What line of film do you use?
Oh, right now I'm using Scorpion window films. Okay. I use their Carbon series, which is their entry-level carbon film. I use that as an entry-level film to my customers, and then I offer them. I actually have I use a couple different ceramic lines of films, a couple different products. Right now, I'm using the Scorpion's new Carbon IRX line, which is their ceramic line. I also use Matico's black ceramic pearl because I love the color of it. I use Solar FX 2 Extreme. That line of ceramic as well. That's the only one. But that's my main line. Is for my entry level film, I've been offering Scorpion Fang since I opened my doors in 2014.
Very nice. So obviously you're happy and things are going well with that film.
Yeah, I mean, I did take a break. I didn't jump in those films. I did try another film, 3 years ago, and I ended up not using them anymore. But since I would say the middle of this past summer is when I started using everybody else's films. Matico, Solar FX, and then Scorpion came out with a good IRX line, which I love, and it's well priced. So,
and what goes into how you decide which films to carry?
what goes in? Obviously, shrinkability, because obviously I'm doing the back windows. I'm installing it. Ron can install anything if you put in front of him, so it really doesn't matter. So I honestly like the color of films. That's important to me. I don't like a super brown film. That's not a fan. I like color hue, workability, and then obviously price. Pricing is a big thing.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Liz asked why so many different brands.
Well, as I said, it's only been 6 months. Let's see, 6 months, because I'm trying out these films.
Okay.
I'm trying out their higher end. All those companies that I mentioned, I'm trying out their ceramic lines to see which one is the most, my favorite one, I should say, and then the one that's going to make me the most money, I should say, and most profit per car, and still have my customer love it, and I can sell it, and the whole 9 yards. But so to answer, I'm only trying stuff out right now. That's all. But for the first 4 years, I used Reno's film. I used Scorpion's carbon film, and then my first ceramic upgrade for my customers, I used Reno, their S5 through their S9 series.
Got it. I won't even ask you how that went.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anything.
Let's not even talk about that. I don't know, but I can only guess. Liz asked a couple follow-up questions. She said, how many types of different shades do you carry at your shop? So
I carry, for auto, obviously, and I have displayed 50%. 70%, 50%, 35%, 20%, and 5%. Those are what I carry, and that's it. I do have a roll here, 15%, because sometimes people ask for 15 for matching front doors purposes. So I have a roll of that, obviously, but those are the main lines.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And then Chamal had a follow-up. He said, because I use 3M, Solar Guard, Solar FX, Lumar, a ceramic. Those are the ones that have been using. That's a lot of films.
That's a lot of films too. But you know what?
A lot of films.
Hearing that, that's a lot of money per roll. It's a lot of money per 36-inch roll. So what makes you determine which one you're going with? How long do you stay with one of those films for? I might go through that. I probably tried 3 rolls of Solar FX Extreme 2, and then I tried 3 rolls of this and 3 rolls of that. So it's just, I'm up in the air right now, but I know I've used Scorpion films the absolute most since I started.
I think, if you're deciding what films to carry, you have to do, first of all, like you're saying, you have to try them first and foremost to get an idea. You can't just, but then, some factors that play into it are the brand draw, if there's a draw. So some of those names, obviously 3M has a draw to it, and Lumar has a draw to it. And then, what you're able to get for those films on the retail side. Sure, you pay more, but do you get more? And everybody settles. I think with automotive, it makes sense to have 1 or 2 types of films. With flat glass, you might need more because there's more scenarios and types of glass out there. But to carry long-term, 3M, Solar Guard, Solar FX, and Lumar, that's a lot for you. Like, I don't even know how's your display wall look if with so many films. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what. I'll just jump in there right there.
Yeah.
I don't have all of these films displayed in my waiting room. Okay. I don't. What I have displayed is a heat box with the ceramic film that I'm using and my regular carbon film that I'm using.
So as far as a customer, they're getting 2 options.
I give them 2 options. You either want an entry level carbon film that's a lifetime warranted film for X amount of dollars, and then I offer them a carbon ceramic film for X amount of dollars.
Okay, so
then I show them the heat box, and they're like, "Oh, fantastic! I'll take the ceramic film all the time."
I think that clears it up.
30 cars a week. I would say 26 to 27 get ceramic film, even if it's just front doors only, or if it's the whole car.
Sure. I think that makes a lot of sense because I was under the presumption that maybe you're offering them those different options, and then the question is, how do you present that to a customer?
No, I don't say, hey, do you want Lumar or do you want 3M? No, I give them an option. So I just make it real simple with my customers, and People like that. They don't want to be bombarded with 95 numbers and 65 films. They want to know what's the good stuff you use and how good is it warranted.
So a couple comments real quick. Rhett Lindsay said, we never have used a heat box in over 10 years. And then Andrew Bully said that a heat box is so misleading. Now, I believe that was a comment. I think that was a comment that was in one of the previous Tint Wisdoms. I don't remember which one. And it might have been by Andrew. And I gave my take on why I don't think a heat box is misleading. I do think if you want to mislead a customer, there is a way to mislead the customer. But I don't think a heat box, to me, at its core, is misleading. But Andrew, I'd love to hear you expand on that. And then I'd love, Kris, your opinion on the heat box.
Absolutely.
So tell me, what do you think?
My opinion on the heat box?
Yeah.
I like the reason for a heat box is I know that my basic entry level carbon film with non-ceramic is not going to keep a lot of heat out. Okay, essentially. So when I have the box that I use is the Reno box. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it, but they probably are. The Reno box is the best box out there, in my opinion, because I can spin it and show somebody 35% carbon on one side and 35% carbon ceramic on the other. And then on the other side, other two, I have 20% and 20% ceramic. So if I show them, even if someone says, well, I want limo tint, you want limo tint, and I want to just find out the difference between the heat rejections, I'm just going to let them know a ceramic film is going to knock out more than a non-ceramic film.
Sure.
And this is what you can feel.
Sure.
Check it out. That's not misleading at all. It's actually very easily informed.
If you're using like an IR bulb, or I feel like what happens is if you use a bulb and you say, here's the bulb going through clear glass, here's the bulb going through this film, here's the bulb going through this film, and somebody's able to feel the difference, to me, I don't spot anything misleading. Now, what I do find misleading is if you don't have a heat box in your showroom and you're telling a customer, hey, we have this option, it doesn't block much heat. We have this option and it does block. Here's a sample card. They look at it, they see IR heat rejection 98% or 90%.
What is that?
And they can't feel anything. They're using they have to now use their imagination based off of your description. To me, that leaves more room for confusion and misleading than 100%. Feeling apples with apples with apples.
I agree with you. That's why when I got a shop, I got a heat lamp right away, because I started offering the ceramic films, and it's like, you have to show a customer simple apples, like, here, this is this and this is that.
Andrew mentioned, don't they all come with an IR bulb? Andrew, you can change the bulb. Just take the bulb out. Pick your own bulb. Go to Home Depot and you pick any bulb you want. Pick one that's a high wattage so it gets hot quick, because if not, you'll be standing there for 30 seconds.
I have the same one that was supplied by Reno, but it's an orange bulb and it looks like a floodlight, and it just gets hot. It's an IR film. I got one actually right there with my turtle. I mean, it's an IR film. It gets really hot.
What I'm saying is,
so all you got to do is you just takes 2 seconds to show somebody the difference of how much that film can block out right away.
There's a variety of bulbs that generate heat, that are meant to generate heat. So you can pick whichever one suits your needs and put it in there, and regardless, it's apples to apples to apples, because they're able to feel the difference, and the closer you can make that bulb to be of the sun, then the closer we're getting. But I can only imagine if you don't have a heat box and people then think, oh, so I'm not going to feel any heat, versus when they use a heat demo, you can feel, okay, I feel a little heat, but it's dramatically decreased.
Right.
So let me get back in the comments.
Sure.
Ed said, heat box is an instant upsell using the same box. Best thing I've ever added to my office. And then Justin Lee also replied and said, sales will boom if you do.
Absolutely.
Andrew said, the bulb doesn't represent the sun. We should ditch TSER, SH, so total solar energy rejected, solar heat gain coefficient for IR. Should we ditch those? Andrew, I don't think it's a matter of ditching those. I just think it's a matter of, the job of a window film business is to communicate the different options that are available for the customer and the benefits and so on. And I don't know that explaining solar heat gain coefficient to a customer is going to help them understand what the pros and cons of some different film options are.
We as window tinters and installers, we know that stuff to a point. I mean, I would challenge you on that.
I would challenge you, because while I'm familiar with these terms, and once I read on them, I could probably explain them pretty well. Sure, if you stop me in the middle of the day and you go, solar heat gain coefficient, go. I can't, and I don't think many people can just like, boom, like here it is.
You know what?
I don't believe
some people
it.
that can, that's on these pages. I'm not gonna lie.
There's some for sure, but I'm saying if you take 1,000 window tint shops, you take away the people who work for manufacturers and have sold film, and you just say window tint installers, how many know? They could go, what's a U value? Tell me a U value right now.
No.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. So like, you know, Andrew, here's the thing. Number one, I love that you're bringing this up, because this sparks conversation, and this brings up opportunity for everybody to learn how it can be done better. My point is, I think a heat box, you know, with the right context, is a great way to demo it to a customer so that they can feel a difference instead of an imagination, or instead of misleading stats that you then have to go down a rabbit hole of how are these stats even gathered, because you can't compare one brand to another. To me, that doesn't seem like a solution at all. So what I say to you, Andrew, is what is a better solution than a heat box? Because, you know, we can point out flaws in our current solutions, but we should only do that as a path to finding a better solution, not just eliminating the best solution we have now. So Andrew, I ask you that. You don't want to mislead your customer. My question to you is, how do you explain it? Because, you know, that's the only way. I don't know the answer to that, but I want to know the answer.
Yeah, I would like to hear it, but I mean, are you assuming that how selling just a carbon to a ceramic film is misleading, basically?
I think the assumption is that the amount of IR heat that comes through glass, clear glass, is being misrepresented, because it's going to be a bigger difference from clear to, let's say, a ceramic based on IR. Sure. You're going to feel a bigger difference than you would clear versus the sun, because more of that bulb's heat is coming from IR, whereas less of the sun's heat is responsible for IR. So that film, you're putting that film in an advantage that's not a real world. So I totally get that idea.
I get that too.
And I get that difference. That's misleading. I can tell you, when I had a shop, that was the first thing I did, was I changed the bulb, because I just wanted to find a bulb that heated up quickly and wasn't an IR bulb, just to produce heat out the glass, because to me, that what you're saying makes sense, and I don't want problems with customers. And with that said, I don't think the IR bulb is that big of a difference. I don't think it's like I think if you put a quality film in a car to block heat, the difference is drastic. It's night and day. It's like it's like crazy uncomfortable to, wow, this is amazing. And I think it's similar with the heat box. I just don't think it's like
I think it's the easiest way to make a sale. I mean, you want to run a business, and you want to run a business by yourself or with one guy or two guys, and not have multiple salesmen. You know, I talk to them quickly. Be very nice and show them, guarantee what they're getting. Show them. I tell them the film. You know, if they want to know the numbers, I will get the numbers for them.
Well, the numbers are the most misleading thing about all the films.
Well, right, and that's why I don't. That's why
the numbers are like horsepower. Like your car doesn't make that horsepower. It's a curve, no. So the numbers are a part of the curve. It's just like they do with the stats. That's a part. That's not the end all.
A heat box to me is wonderful. It is what it is, and I'm still going to use it.
Well, I'm open to better suggestions. If I'm always open to better suggestions. That's what this is about. I just don't know about it, and anyway. So let me see. We have Jamal said, let me tell you, around me, there is shops that aren't even as educated about how to explain to the customer what they're getting and what they're paying for. That's for sure. There's no shortage of tint shops that are just applying film to glass. It doesn't go any further than that. And that's in any business. There's people who make coffee from a drip coffee machine, and it doesn't matter when it was roasted or ground. And you can get a wide variety of quality in anything. Those shops aren't taking away from the integrity of your shop, or they're not taking away from the industry or so on. That exists in all industries. So yes. I'm just saying I guess I'm saying that is because I feel like sometimes shops who feel that they offer the best quality and they pride themselves on it can be discouraged when they see other shops getting away with offering a different service and not doing that. And that is just part of the variation of life. It exists everywhere. So Harry said the problem, and this is Harry Ramon from Veloce Innovations. You mentioned Veloce earlier. So he said the problem with specs is that those specs are in different metrics, And that's what's confusing to customers. For sure, I think the specs are the most confusing thing to customers. I don't think almost any customers have any idea, even if you explain to them, they're still focused on what they look like. Let alone.
And he's right. And Harry's right 100%. So going to someone's house and selling, flat glass to a residential owner, I'm not going to bombard them with numbers. I'm going to know my numbers on my film that I'm going to sell to them. So I'm going to give it to them really quick on what this film is going to knock out. 99% of the UV rays. This is how much glare it's going to knock out, or this is how much heat is going to knock out, depending on what you're asking me for. Real simple, selling film flat glass, and it's fun to do.
Yep. You definitely have to know the numbers. You have to understand the numbers. And really, the challenge is, how do you communicate that information to your customer in the clearest way for them? That's really the challenge, because you can know it all, and if you spit it all out in the wrong order, and it can be worse than not knowing it at all.
Correct.
So Assad said, so I can tint 5 cars in 10-hour shift. Do you guys think I'm good for 5 years experience? What do you say to that?
I can tint 10 cars or 5 cars?
5 cars, 10 hours.
Full 4-door sedans, SUVs, or are you talking coupes? Makes a difference.
What are you talking about, Assad? And what's your work look like?
Is it 5 Expedition Maxes, or are they, 2 Kia
What do you think,
Rios?
like, if we're talking, like, let's say he's tinting, let's just say 5 Nissan
5
Altimas. Malibu's,
okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, sure, Altimas. In 10 hours?
Yeah, so 2 hours a vehicle.
That's pretty awesome for 5 hours, for 2 years experience. 2 years experience or 5 years experience?
5 years experience. 5 cars, 10 hours, 5 years.
Yeah, 2 hours per car. Sure, that should be great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think you could definitely work towards maybe like an hour per car, but I don't know that there's a benchmark. There's a wide variety of quality and what type of vehicles you're saying and so on.
It's all, if you're going to do 5 cars in 2 hours a car in 10 hours, that's great. But I mean, if you're using a high quality film that's expensive, there's a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors that I don't know if you want to really get into about all the factors on that. But if you're charging $200 for a 4-door car, or $150 for a 4-door car, you're busting your butt for a long time for not a lot of money.
So that matters too, because if in that 5 cars there was a Tesla Model 3 that was a $600 or $700 ticket, if the other 2 cars had crystalline on them or another, then it's a different ballgame. So at the end of the day, you are where you're at. He said small sedan cars. You are where you're at. You can definitely you should always look for ways to improve your time, improve your speed, improve your quality, because at the end of the day, all you have is time. So the better you can use your time. And one way possibly would be maybe adding a plotter to your game. That might speed you up, or double cutting your windows, or
100%. Yeah. Whatever's going to do better for you. I don't have a plotter at my shop. We don't have one yet. We're going to get one the middle of this year, after when we do more of the PPF. I double cut everything. I hand cut every car that comes through my shop, and I lay it, and then they stick it, and I do the back window, and then obviously the front window. That's how it works. We work as a team.
So Andrew, and that's important, obviously, the process, the team, cars come in, you have to make the most of it. So
you gotta have a good team.
So Andrew said you should have an engineer from a manufacturer come on your show and break it down. I've been confused for years. Andrew, that's a great idea. I'm going to seek out someone who can best explain this stuff, who knows it in and out. And what you're saying about you've been confused for years, everybody's confused. Not everybody. There's some engineers, like you're saying, that absolutely know what they're talking about. But that's the reason why a heat box is such a favorite item, because it's the only other direction you typically have if you don't go to a heat box is to the stats. And those stats are so darn confusing that when window tinters don't understand the stats, trying to get the customer to understand them is, a huge feat.
And if I could chime in there a little bit with heat box, it sounds like some people are against the heat box or it's misleading, but ask yourself a question. Do the big name film companies, they all sell heat boxes for you to utilize in your shop and upgrade and upsell? So I don't know.
But what they're saying is, or what Andrew's saying, just to kind of kick back to what you just said, yes, manufacturers are providing the heat box, but if we were to assume what Andrew's saying is they're misleading, and let's just say that's correct.
With the numbers.
If I'm a window film manufacturer, it still could be misleading. It doesn't matter, but that's, still to be decided. So
Sure.
Jumping back into the comments, Harry mentioned one of the points about selling clear films in cold climates is that clear films are better because you still get the passive heat gain from the visible light in the winter as opposed for a darker film. And I think he was replying to Paul, which I didn't see Paul's comment. But what Harry's saying, if I understand correctly, is one of the benefits to... Let me make sure I understand. So one of the benefits to selling clear films in cold climates is that you get a passive heat gain from the visible light. So what he's saying is one of the benefits is it's going to keep you cool in the summer, but one of the benefits is in the winter, you still get the passive heat gain from the visible light. So you're getting some heat from the visible light you're allowing through, and that's going to keep you warm in the winter. So that's a tip for colder climates. That's a very good tip, and
that's it. And that's what I'm at. I'm in the colder climates. Yes.
Okay, so I mean, I imagine I was thinking automotive when he was saying it, but really it's flat glass because people's homes are going to be where allowing that passive heat to come in and keep their homes warm in the winter probably has the most effect, more in a home than in a car, but in both, I guess, but home especially, right?
And the numbers and what Harry's talking about, Veloce Innovations numbers is fantastic. They're absolutely fantastic. I'm looking forward to growing with them guys, but the numbers, like I said, the numbers and what Harry's got going on with those type of lines of film that he's coming out with are just absolutely amazing.
And the thing that Harry just said about the clear films, that plays a point. I just kind of want to stop and everybody, think about, this is why I stress you have to go to dealer meetings. You have to be in the Facebook groups. You have to, it's in your best interest to know your manufacturer and have a relationship with them because they're able to provide you information that can be so critical in how you sell your film and how you run your business, and you don't know what they know. And that was not something that was on my mind. I've lived in warm climates, and that's a great point. And you got
a hoodie on right now. Are you cold or?
Well, it's LA, so it's
LA sounds warm to me, man. I'd be like, man, I don't know.
It's a sunny 65.
Oh, you're lucky, man. You guys are lucky. It's a warm. Well, actually, it's not bad out here. It's 45, but yesterday it was like a warm 16.
Warm 16. Oh my gosh.
It's bad out here. You never know what we're gonna get over here.
Oh my gosh. So Robbie said, I tell him like I want to be told. Very simple. 2 types of heat. The biggest deal: direct heat, ambient heat. In the sun or behind the garage. Or I can put a fan on you at no charge. Get behind. I'm sorry I'm so bad at reading this. Get behind the wall and I put the fan on you. It helps cool you. Film is the wall. Helps absorb the heat and slow it down. That's I read that poorly, and that's a great example. The heat box is a fast way to feel the heat. Then put the wall, the film in front. Be truthful. Is the best and only way to sell the wall. An example I used to use for flat glass for people that had an unreasonable expectation of how much heat can be blocked is window film is going to block a percentage of the heat that's coming through the glass. However, that in no way cools your home. And then the analogy I would draw is I'd say, we could block 100% of the heat from your window, but that's not going to make your home cool. Let's think about a room you have in your house, like your garage or a closet that has no windows.
Right.
Does that room stay cool on its own? No, they tend to get super hot. Right? Unless they have cold air being pumped into them. So relating it to a room with no windows sometimes helps people understand, okay, I get what window film's doing. It's not going to be an AC on my window. It's just blocking some heat. We have a lot of comments, so I got to read through these. Jamal said, I can hand cut for 10 years. Now I have my plotter and I'm loving it. Time saver, but don't forget to add a good software. That's 100%. Andrew mentioned, what I mean is Pinnacle 30 is 57% TSR and Stratos is 59, but twice the price. But on the heat box, you do feel a big difference between the Stratos and the Pinnacle. I know for a fact. So if what you're saying is that heat box is deceivingly making it feel like there's a big difference and there isn't a big difference. Even in my car, though, here's the thing. I have Pinnacle. I had Pinnacle in my car. Here's a good example, because you're 100% right, Andrew.
He's right.
Because you're right on the stats, obviously, and you're right to say my example of saying it feels different on a heat box isn't accurate. But I can tell you, those are literally the two films that I had on my Grand Cherokee. I went from Pinnacle, and then when Stratos was released, we pulled the Pinnacle off, we put Stratos on the vehicle, and I can tell you with 1,000% certainty it's way cooler.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I know that's not scientific, but we're going to get a scientific answer for you.
Yep.
And one way we're going to do that is Mark Carlson is in this video now. So Mark, I'm going to ask you, I know Mark understands these numbers inside and out. So I'd love to call you out, Mark, and ask you if you would please be on Tint Wizdom and please be the engineer that we need to explain these numbers to us.
Yes, please.
Matt Sand here also said, one point I try and remember is to say that the heat lamp presentation, this is not the sun, not as hot as the sun. It is just for comparison. We are showing you the potential, but overall, it will only block 2/3 on a good day.
Matt said that?
Matt Sand here, and he also said we use a halogen bulb.
I agree with you there, Matt. That I do tell that to my customers too. This isn't the sun. This is a heat bulb that's going to, it's going to show you the difference. But essentially, that's what it does. You know what I mean? So I agree with him there for sure.
And then, I think David actually is the one who asked Mark to come in here. Thank you. He said, you're the most knowledgeable person in the community that can break down specs and technical to human understanding. Yeah, thank you, David, for bringing him in. Mark. Yes. So Andrew said, I just need some better info. I have Stratos on mine too. Pinnacle's already amazing. So it is. And yeah, I mean, it is. And at the end of the day, like, I think we can all benefit from understanding it further, but I wouldn't look too deep into calling yourself deceiving if you're using a heat box, because at the end of the day, if you're showing the film to the customers, you're letting them make their decisions, you're doing your best. There's always room for improvement, but I wouldn't call yourself deceiving.
Let me ask you a question too regarding having a heat box deceiving or whatnot. I mean, not only do I show them the heat box, but I also go out and I show them my personal car. And I let them sit in my car, and I let them check out this car that's done in carbon. And we just show them. We show them everything. You sit. Yeah. I let the customers sit in my Corvette.
How often do you bring a customer out to your car? Would you say?
99% of the time.
So what if your car was?
If Ron or Joe's on this feed, I'm sure that they'll say absolutely. We show them all of our cars because we all like different stuff. I don't like super dark stuff. Ron loves blacked out stuff.
So that's clearly an important part of your sales tactics.
That's called customer service 101. I mean, I've been hands-on. That's what I love to do. I like to be good with my customers. And then I show them what I have on my personal car. So that's what I have. I want you to see it. Go ahead and jump in my Ram and enjoy what you see. And then I bring them into my Corvette that's in my car. I have an older Corvette that's parked in the shop. They sit in that and they're like, this is awesome. I like the 20. Or I like the 35 on Joe's car. I mean, we fully interact with our customers. I don't make it like, okay, I'm a big customer service nut job, so per se.
Well,
as you can look up my business and my company on Google and see what people say about me and my guys.
And everybody, that's a big sales tip that Kris just shared with you. That we didn't talk about that sales tip earlier, and it just came out of like every 99% of the cars that come through there, he's taking out to his vehicles, his staff's vehicles. He's letting them sit in it. He's showing them what's on his vehicle. What better way to show trust than, or like earn their trust than to show them what you, as the expert, put on your vehicle? So what that means is, it pays to have a clean vehicle. It pays to have your vehicle right out front. This is important 100%. To do it.
And also one more thing too, obviously if you have a shop, there's a good tendency that you're going to have a car too sitting there that's got to get picked up from the day before. And I'm like, here, there's a Cadillac. Check that out. That was done in 20. Here, the F-150, that's got matching 20 on the front doors.
And when they see you putting see another car that...
Yeah. I bring my customers in the back of the shop. I take them out of my waiting room and I bring them into my shop and show them where their car is going to go. And I'm going to say, hey, you show them. Fully highly interact with your customers is the best thing you can possibly do.
And have a clean shop.
It gains trust, and then I see repeat customers every other year, every 2 years, and it's just, that's how you get them. Be nice. Jesus.
Marissa Ashley said, Kris, I'm a film rep. I wanted to ask you, what's the biggest thing you look for as a shop owner sorry, let's start this again. What's the biggest thing you look for as a shop owner in terms of support from your suppliers or vendors? So what do you look for as a tint shop owner when you're looking for, support from your suppliers, your vendors, the manufacturers?
You have to have I love the great relationship that I have with my sales rep, first of all. Okay. That's huge. I like to be called and seen what's going on. I don't like to be left in the dark. I don't know. That's cute. That's big to me. Okay. I like when I'm able to call and they get right on the phone and they act like, hey, we're important. I've had, call and you have to leave a message and you get called back like 2 days later or a day later. No, man, I'm going to work with someone that knows that this is my life and this is how I eat. And I need your support to help me. Or if not, I'll find somebody else that agrees with me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Customer service. I mean, that's the relationship with my rep they're my buddies. Simple as that. You know what I mean? They never, you call them right away and they answer. They call you right back. They know something's important. They know that you need their film and we got to figure it out. We need to get it here.
Yep. Yep. And, there's options out there. So if you're not happy with the support, you find a company that's willing to give you the support that you're looking for, because ultimately that then elevates the bar for what type of support has to be a standard and what people want to do when what they want to do when they're in your business, and that just pushes everything up for everybody.
Marissa, right? Who is she a rep for, or what film company does she work for?
She is ExoShield, so she was on here. Okay. That's the windshield skin too.
Yeah, I know what it is. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Cool. Very cool.
Cool. So Andrew said, I take pride in being honest and informative. Andrew, that's seriously the number one thing at the end of the day. Honest and informative, I think, trump everything. Yep. They trump absolutely everything. Even if you suck at it as a tinter, if you're honest and informative about it, if you're like, hey, I'm just learning and I'm not that good, this is the price, this is the quality you're going to get, it's really the number one thing. So Andrew, that's the right North Star.
He's 100% right too. You were spot on, Andrew. I'm going to also tell you guys what I tell my customers too. And when they tell me that they found me on Google, okay, and they say you have the best reviews, it's great in your area, I'm like, thank you, I appreciate that. Now, usually I'm either talking to them about that when I'm checking them out of my shop. When it's time to pay, they've seen their car. And I let them know, I reassure them that, listen, it's a lifetime warranty. We all know the film's going to fail eventually. It's a lifetime warranty as long as you own that car, okay? If you are not happy with something, it will be 100% fixed. No questions asked. You'll never be mad at me. I only want you to be happy with me. And that's just the bottom line. You keep everybody happy, your reviews go up, and then you get more business. Bottom line.
And you avoid those few reviews from the people who aren't happy, and that's it. Yeah. And even just knowing that, like, all right, somebody wasn't happy. Let's just say you're completely in the right, they're completely in the wrong, and they're not happy. Knowing that you were able to take care of them and make the situation right, like that's a good feeling. Like that's a good way to run your business. You don't want somebody unhappy, even if they were wrong, even if it was their mistake. Who cares?
Everybody knows in customer service, not along just window tinting in life, or one bad review is like 20 non-customers. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever it is.
More. Who knows?
More. Like one bad person that's not happy, man, you're getting his whole group of friends and family are not going to you. You know what I mean? You do one good one, you want to get a good review, that multiplies. That just spirals and rolls.
Yeah, and beyond, absolutely. Matt said, Matt Blackmer, Tint Stuff said, heat boxes are a great way to create physical connection between paper numbers and reality. Might be some differences, but it's hard to understand the numbers as a consumer. And let's see, Robbie said, amen, amen, amen. I offer everyone I talk to see my truck, and they are always shocked. I use light shade. That they're shocked that he uses a light shade.
Yay, but that's what you like. That's what he's more comfortable with, but it doesn't matter. He's showing his customer his car. That's fantastic, man. God bless you there.
And what a great way to drive the point home that a light shade could block heat by showing them that you have a light shade.
Yeah, you could do, you got the 70% you put on a windshield that knocks out a ton of heat. So, we show that. We show that when it's hot outside. Like, get in here and stick your hand in the inside of this windshield. Do you feel any heat? It's 95 degrees out. Do you feel anything? No. Mm-hmm. I mean, hands on. Show the people the stuff. So, that's important. Absolutely. So bring them out to your car. Bring them out to your car. Just make sure your car is presentable, man. It's not smelling like anything silly, or wash your car. You know what I mean?
Right.
Clean
Absolutely.
your window tint that you did. So come on, and make sure it looks good.
it's your sales tool at that point. So
Yeah,
it's a good reason to have a clean car.
Right.
So Betsy asked, she said, Kris, your customer service is amazing. Can you talk us through your sales process? So I'm a customer. I walk in the door. I hear a little ding. Sure. And who do I see? What happens?
So when you walk into my new shop, there's nobody in there. There's the door there, and I have like a layout of a couch, Netflix, Mortal Kombat arcade, and my heat box, and some glass parency displays. But no one's in there. Okay. They come in. I hear a door chime. Me or one of the other guys, we go greet them, and say I'm greeting. Hey, how are you? How can I help you today? I'm Kris. I shake their hand. Okay. I want to get my windows tinted. Okay. Go ahead. Right. Get my windows tinted. I ask, have you done business with us in the past? Have you ever got your windows tinted in the past?
Okay, so you start off by asking questions.
Yes. You always got open. You always have to ask open-ended questions. That's rule of sales.
Right.
Yes. Open-ended questions first. Get to feel them out. So then I can get right into the juicy stuff. Like, hey, if this person doesn't know anything about tint, realistically, or never had their car tinted, I go right to the heat box. Right. I show them the shades on the wall, and then we go look at my car. And then I go out there and I say, hey, nice car. That's a nice looking car you got there. That would look good with 20, or that would look good with 50. But I never say that because what looks good with 50? You know what I mean? So that's how I start my process, and then we go from there. You know what I mean? Okay. And then I always ask, how did you hear about us? Because like I said, my shop is off the beaten path. Like, you couldn't see my shop. If anyone that knows my company or my Facebook page, you see the pictures outside. I'm in a pole barn with there's nobody around at all. So you're not going to see me on the street. All I have is one little a stake sign sitting about after one street that you got to get to my shop, which is 3 blocks off the beaten path. Says 5-star window tinting that way. That's it. And then my Google presence, and that's why I maintain my Google presence with my Google ads. And I upload I have probably 30. I don't even know. I don't want to make some silly number up, but I know I have quite a few hundred pictures uploaded on my business profile on my Google Plus page for 5-star window tinting.
Right.
And I can see how many people look at that and view that, because I only look at it one time.
Right.
I don't even look at it. I upload it.
But they send you the stats in an email every month or so, and they'll tell you how many people viewed your pictures and so on.
You know what, Eric? I don't even look at that. I look at the apps as a whole, as a quarter, and I'll get notifications like someone's seen that car 60 times in the past 2 days, and I'm like, whoa. Mm-hmm. So that just prompts me to figure out, okay, I might get, we went through that yesterday or Tuesday with hashtags. We won't even get into that.
Yeah, but what you're saying is really spot on. Anybody looking for ways to improve your business, what you're saying, having those pictures on Google, focusing on reviews, taking your time with the sales process, asking questions, like you said, hey, if you ask your customer, have you had tint on your car before? If they say no or they say yes, those are 2 completely different next steps, right? Because somebody who had it before, do you usually go to dark tint or a light tint? And what do you want to find their preferences? Go ahead.
Yeah. Open up your open questions. Yep. It's 2 different. It's completely 2 different angles of how you're going to go about it. Yeah, I always get my car tinted. This is like my 25th car.
Right.
Okay, so what's your favorite VLT? What do you usually go with? I want 20, or I always get 5. All right. And I'm like, well, let's make this simple. Make it simple. Do you want the high heat rejecting film, or do you not care about that? You just want a basic lifetime warranty film that's not going to turn purple, because I don't care dyed films, and I don't like dyed films.
Right.
That's just how I am. So. Yeah. And then that sale's done. Boom, on to the next one.
So make sure when you're talking to your customer, when they come in, that you're asking questions, you're doing a lot of listening, and then you're strategically answering them. You're not just kind of exploding with all your information and just overwhelming them with stuff. Because at the end, they're going to be confused. And when people are confused, they're going to go with the cheaper option because they don't know what.
And then they're going to take your card, and then they're going to leave. And then they're going to look into other options, because I'm like, I don't even know what the heck happened just when I went in there.
Right.
I mean, you have to have a total approach on every person that comes into your shop in an age bracket. You can get the senior citizens that might come in that want the UV protection. You
have to find out what they're looking for.
Everything is different.
If they're coming in there because they want to protect their skin from cancer, it's different than if they want privacy.
Everything's treated differently. But I think the number one thing to do is, being 100% honest with the customers, and bring them out to your car and show them what it looks like. And it's always not a bad idea I did this before when I first started. I drove a little Chevy Sonic 4-door hatchback, and I tinted all 4 windows the different shade of my car that I offered because I was mobile, and then they were able to see that when I went to the dealerships, and they look, oh, that's 50, oh, that's 35. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
There's so many different ideas. Absolutely.
So Marissa said, all right, I'm doing something right then. Love building relationships. Thank you so much for your answer. Marissa, that's why we had you on Tint Wisdom a few weeks back, was because you obviously have insanely positive relationships with your dealers. So you're definitely doing something right. And Liz said, I have to log out. Wanted to thank you guys. I really enjoyed this. Picked up a few tips. So thank you, Liz, for watching, and everybody else, obviously. Julie says that you are the best salesman ever. And then a lot of those symbols. And Jamal said, I always tell them that if you have any issues, just call me right back and I'll get that fixed. No questions asked. Yeah. Absolutely. And Jamal, just kind of, and I'm curious, Kris, I know Jamal's just typing that out, so it's probably not the exact wording he uses. I just feel like it's a good time to expand on that. And, you know, you can evaluate the wording that you use to the customer, and you can set their expectations. So you don't want to necessarily just say, hey, if you have any issues, call me, because what's going to happen is you're putting it in their head that, sure, you're relaxing them that you're going to take care of them, but you might be putting in their head that, hey, there might be problems. So then you're getting a customer looking for problems. They might see normal curing of the film, and then they might call you, and that starts this whole extra thing.
Yeah, and he's right 100%. Like where I'm at, we're in Chicago, where it's getting cold now. A real important, and this is just a tip for anyone that is tinting right now in the cold, which you probably already know this, but when you're with the customer and before they leave, I have stuff printed out that we hang up on their rearview mirror that says, hey, the bubbles will cure. You know, they will go away within 3 weeks if you want to exaggerate. But I mean, if it's that cold, it might take that long. So that's something over the years I've found out. Like, if you don't explain that there will be a little bit of bubbling in there curing, then, you know, that will cut down your people calling back being like, what the heck? Or giving you a bad review saying that there's bubbles in your window.
Or
because you didn't fully take care of that person.
And there's threads where you'll see like, okay, somebody got their windows tinted, then they went to another shop, and then because they pulled off the tint and now they want a refund. And you're like, wait, well, how did that happen? Or like you'll see reviews on Yelp where customers will say, 3 stars, everything looked good. I did get some bubbles. They said that they'll go away. We'll see. And stuff like that. And you're like, oh, that could have been avoided.
Yeah, that's terrible. You got to make sure they're comfortable before they leave. 100%. So I wish I had the material. I'm not, I'm at home, but I wish I would be able to show you guys what we use. We use the do not roll down stickers that say, with our logos on it, 3 to 5 days. It's made by John Baranowski. He's over at Boston Design. He's a good guy. He makes these things that are fantastic. But he also makes door jam stickers that goes in the door jam. And we also make rear view mirror hangers that hang on there that stick right in their face about bubbles. But you got to make sure that you're telling them about it, that they will cure out, because that could get you a bad review. You know what I mean?
And just that the hassle.
Prevent the preventable. I mean, real. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it even earns you some points in possibly getting a good review, because the customer knows like, wow, they really took their time to explain it. That's awesome. Thanks. And, it helps. All those little things help. So good job, Jamal. And we have more questions. So Carrie said, heat boxes can double your ceramic sales easily. 1,000% agree. I guess at this point, nobody really thinks that they're not going to help. It's just a matter of if it's deceiving and if there's a better way to communicate the information to the customer accurately. Ed said, bingo. They roll it down too early. Yep, redo it for free. Make them happy, because one unhappy customer will ruin your business for sure. If they roll down their window, who cares? Just fix it.
Exactly.
Ken said that Kris's reputation has always been spread by word of mouth. I tell everyone I go to, or everyone to go to him. He's been tinting my cars for 20 years. Thank you, Ken. Jamal asked, do you put videos up after you tint them and upload them in your Google? You know what? You're not able to put Google videos up on your page. They only let you post pictures on Google. So what you can do to answer that is, if you do have a Facebook page, business page, you can go live, obviously, and that will save to the top of your Facebook video page if someone finds you it. But it also
generates that I've found my videos on Google just by searching my business. So I can tell you doing videos is definitely more efficient than just posting pictures.
For sure.
100%.
Pictures come and
Absolutely.
go. The videos get found a lot more long term.
Yes.
And, you know, if you want to post your videos, the best place I think to post the videos long term is YouTube. So go to YouTube, post your videos on YouTube, Facebook as well. But,
I don't have a YouTube channel. That I don't plan. I mean, maybe I'll make one. I just never mess with YouTube. I look at YouTube with the window tinting forum pages and watch and follow, you know, Matt and Patrick and, you know, them guys. I follow that type of stuff, but I've never, ever, since I've been in business, used YouTube for my business.
So Mike Powell actually just started a YouTube channel, and he's going to be, you know, improving that YouTube channel and growing that YouTube channel over the course of this year for his business. So he's somebody to watch. I know obviously you're close with Mike. So when you say you don't have a YouTube channel now, let's see how soon Mike's example will twist. Well, you'll end up with a YouTube channel.
Most likely I'll have one. It's just another thing I got to take care of.
Oh, but it's going to be, it's like another golden goose to take care of though.
You're right.
So you have to feed it.
I'm not knocking it.
You have to feed it, but gold eggs will be at your door daily from it. So
that's good. Yeah.
So let's see. Robbie said, every car before my truck, I always have 35, 20, and 10. See all the shades and look great. Then let them know what the film look like, lighter, darker, depending on interior color. That's a good point too that Robbie brings up. Interior color definitely plays a role, and you want to be especially conscious in those Teslas that have, you know, eye-blinding white interior. Because that's a big one.
I always tell people on that note, if I do, like I said, I walk outside, I show them my car, I look at their car, and right away, if it has light interior, I instantly tell them, hey, if you're going to go with the 35, you might not be happy. You might want to go with 20. That's a simple boom. And they're like, well, why? Because, you know, the light interior makes the tint look a shade lighter than what it really is.
And you find out when you walk out to their car and you see it, because if not, you're making the whole sales process. You're running out, pulling their car in, and now you're telling them, hey, you should go with a different film. And at that point, you've caused confusion. And then if they don't like it, they're going to be wondering, did I make the wrong decision making the change? So now you've kind of built this weird uncertainty afterwards. So that's really important. Jamal says he has the same thing that you do, that he puts on the center of the mirror explaining everything. And he uses the stickers as well. That's vital and a great way to even just cross-sell. If you offer other services, like you're going to be offering PPF, what better way to inform the customers about the PPF, or at least long-term let them leave with something, and other than you mentioning it, that's a way to do it.
You can leave a little postcard, other than the mirror hanging thing. I mean, you can leave a little postcard in their cup holder with your business card, or maybe 3 business cards attached to it, and let them know that, or hand it to them when you hand the receipt to them. Say, hey, please, you know, recommend me to your friends or your family. If you're happy with it, you know, there's simple stuff like that make a big difference.
Those are like little call to actions. Like if you mention, like if you're happy, please share it, or this or that. Like it definitely can be the difference between people actually doing it or not thinking about it. Tony Cusimano said Kris is the best. And then, you know, Tony, I assume.
That's my aunt. I love you, Aunt Tony. Thank you.
And then Andrew said, great show again tonight, Wizard. Andrew, thank you really for contributing to that show. Thank you for bringing that point up again. That's what we need, is to spark discussion and then use everybody's heads together to find, you know, the best answers. So thank you, Andrew.
Absolutely.
Pam said, you can tell all your customers that, but there is always that one that doesn't listen. I think we're talking about maybe putting their windows down or the bubbles or so on. And that's true. There's one that doesn't listen. So what you can do is, you know, include it with your receipt possibly, so that they have it when you point it out to them like you do. You also put it on their windshield. And the more ways you're reinforcing it, the more likely at least they're to let it absorb.
There's always that one that rolls the windows down. I mean, there's always that somebody that does something. But as long as you exercise every option, you're fine.
Right. And Mike Powell said you have to break it down and show a customer who you are and what you offer. If you gain their trust, they don't think or question you. Stay confident, because confidence keeps you on top and keeps every client trusting your word and work. 100%. They're buying you. They're not buying the film most of the time. Most of the time, they're buying you and the film.
They're buying you. They're buying you.
They're buying you, and they're buying the film because of you.
That's it. Yep. Yeah.
Justin, thanks for watching. Andrew said, but that's illegal. I'm not sure what that was in regards, because this comment was probably from a few minutes ago. Maybe windshield tinted. but
Well,
I don't think we really talked about windshield.
Yeah, we're not gonna. Are we gonna talk about that?
Illegal and legal is definitely a great topic, probably for another show, because
for another topic.
It's like an endless topic.
We can talk and argue about stuff all the time, but everybody knows that they all put illegal tint on their cars every day, and whatever. We don't want to talk about that.
We'll leave it with that one. Mike Powell said, "Reps the contact and touch base." And is about me and my shop is key. That's why I'm so funny about films and reps. I've left companies because of lack of rep contact. So yeah, everybody has a difference of opinion. I personally didn't love when reps would contact me. I wanted to be quick. I wanted them to support me quickly when I had a question. I didn't want them to be contacting me just to shoot the shit ever, really. Like, it would just be like, if this is your way to drum up sales and remind me you exist, find a better way to add value. But, you know, on the other end, when I needed something, I wanted to answer quick. So everybody's got a preference, though. So, you know, you go with the companies that fit you best, and then everything else works itself out in the industry.
I mean, you build a relationship with them, and it's great. I mean, there's a lot of good companies that are very good with their customer service. I'm not going to just name them, rattle them off, but there's some good companies out there that have really good customer service and have really awesome staff members. I mean, they're great. And then there's some that aren't good, but you got to find that out for yourself. I mean, realistically.
And then Andrew mentioned driver, passenger doing 20. So that's what he was referring to as illegal, was when we mentioned doing the two fronts in 20s. Definitely illegal, probably illegal in all states, if not most, unless you have a waiver from your eye doctor or so on, right?
Actually, in Indiana, I don't know where Andrew's from, but in Indiana, you can have 20% of your front doors. And I'm right at the border of Indiana. So I get a lot of those customers.
Yeah. And here's the thing. When we talk, I want to sprinkle in just like a tiny bit of illegal talk, just like a really small sprinkle. When we talk about what's illegal and what's not illegal, if we're not looking, like, there's obviously one side to look at it. You have to look at it as a business, what is your liability, and what is the gain? What is the potential loss? Where, you know, I get that. But if we're stepping outside of that and we're moving into the morality of doing something legal or illegal, I just want to remind everybody that driving 3 miles over the speed limit is also illegal, and you're doing it in the same vehicle that you have 10% less light coming in. So when we're talking about moving a $3,000 or 4,000 pound metal object faster than you're supposed to because it's deemed dangerous, okay?
Yeah.
Is the 10% less light entering your windows the problem, or is it the speed you're flying through reality?
And
so
here,
I just want to put that out there.
Let me chime in there too. Illegal window tint, if it's illegal, and this is a little sprinkle, Eric. This is a sprinkle. It's not a driving ticket. It's not. It's an ordinance.
It's not a moving. Right. It's not a moving violation.
That's all I'm going to say. It's not against your driving record to have 10% darker tint than you're supposed to. So
no. So, you know, again, I think liability of the shop is a huge one. But I think from the morality side of it, that's something to think about. Marissa said it's so funny because sometimes I'll send people a text saying they slayed a PPF install and they're like, "Oh, I promise I'm pushing ExoShield." I'm like, "Man, honestly, just wanted to compliment your installation." Marissa, so that's the problem, is that's remnants from the way a lot of like shitty salespeople are, and they just come around to remind you to buy more whenever it's convenient for them. And you know, they're just not used to necessarily you supporting them, and that's kind of support from a manufacturer. So that's what everybody wants, though. Everybody wants that support. So good job. Andrew, thanks again for watching. You just said, you know, good show. And thank you. So we ran out of questions as of now, but we're not on any time limits. If you have any last questions for Kris while we're live, drop them in the comments now. I have one last question for you, Kris. So this year is all about your let's sum it up. You're 5 years into this new shop. You're obviously growing.
No, I'm actually, 4? I'm sorry not to cut you off. I am going into 3 years into a shop.
Okay. So I'm sorry, 5 years total.
I'm going 2 months into my new shop right now.
So we got
my size new shop.
2 years mobile, 3 years in your new shop. This year's going to be PPF being an addition to your shop and expanding your flat glass. I want to jump ahead. Where do you see your business in 10 years?
Oh, Lord. My business in 10 years, I would like to have, honestly, 3 locations. And I know exactly where I want them to be right now already. and I need to find the staff and the trusting people that I could trust on, that know will do good work and keep the reviews going. And that's it. It's finding out good people that can represent your shop.
Right.
I mean, and then growing from there. Simple as that. So 10 years, I'm still going to be slinging film, putting it on glass. Okay. I know I'm going to.
3 locations, a lot of good people.
Nice. Yep. But if it's my still location, that's perfectly fine. If I'm still in the same location, which I just got into 2 months ago, I'll be perfectly fine and be happy, and I'll be fine. I'll be happy. Hopefully my 16-year-old son will tint windows, because he's about to be 16, not too long. Well, 15, I'm sorry. He's going to learn how to tint real soon, because he doesn't want to now, but he's going to. So, nice. We'll go from there.
So that's location number 2 probably, right?
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's up to him. I want him to go to school, obviously, and be smart and like his father to that extent,
So, Eric Queen said, I almost didn't see...
That's my brother. That's my little brother. He's going to bust me out.
He said, I almost couldn't see Kris in the camouflage hoodie. It's like all I see is a 5-star logo floating on the screen. And then Andrew said, where can I buy a camo hoodie? So is that camo hoodie from Shaded Outfitters?
You know what? This is not from Shaded Outfitters. I don't know. Julie, where's this from? Oh, look in the comments. It's down below.
Oh, there it is. Tactical Pro Supply. So
Tactical Supply Pros. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Cool hoodie.
It's pretty awesome. I like it. Makes me look real fat, though, but, it's all good.
Got it. So that's not a 5-star hoodie then, is it?
No. You know what? No. I actually don't. My 5-star hoodies are dirty, but I did just get this new hat from Shaded Outfitters from Mike, who was letting people buy them and supporting me because he's like the coolest dude on the planet. But check out the stuff from Shaded Outfitters, because he's got some cool apparel and cool slogans too. You don't want to know. I got enough shirts. That's all I wear. And
I know he's always adding them pretty much weekly. I see new designs pop up. So.
Yeah, he's got some cool stuff on there.
Kris, it was very, very nice getting to know you in person, face to face. And thank you for sharing so much about your business and and doing this.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it being on. It was great.
Well, thank you everybody who tuned in live, and thank you for watching this after. Next week, we'll be back on Tuesday and Thursday, and next week is going to be a double interview week. So on Tuesday, we're going to have Rick Tallman from the Window Film Revolution Group, and that's at Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And then Thursday, we're going to have Austin Cook from the Tinstitute. So it'll be a double.
Cool. Next week will be good.
Yep. So we'll see everybody next Tuesday. Have a great weekend, and thank you again for watching. Thank you, Kris, for doing this again.
Thank you.
Have a great night, everyone.